Gordon Darcy, it's a win for Ireland here at the Principality Stadium. It was 34-10 in the end. An impressive win, I suppose. It was a tale of two halves. The first half quite impressive by Ireland, a little bit different then come the second half.
Yeah, well, I think Wales were they were going to have their purple patch. They came in, they still only scored one try. Now they probably had two tries they would have expected to score, but some phenomenal defence from Dan Sheehan for one of them, and then I think Andrew Porter to hold up Wales in the first half. So I'd say on the face of it, Ireland will be very, very happy with that. Their attack was really, really impressive in the first 20 minutes. Conor Murray playing really well. They just played high tempo and they played like the number one team in the world. As you'd expect a team like Wales, they came back into it. They played a little bit more in the second half, but I think equally Ireland were really good at absorbing that pressure. And they probably, the one thing they wanted was that bonus point, and it took until like 74th, 75th minute for them to get it, but they came in. Ross Byrne was very good when he came on, and they leave with everything they wanted from this game.
Yeah, and it wasn't without its challenges. Obviously some late last minute changes to the team, Jamieson Gibson-Park, Cian Healy. So I suppose to see them being able to adapt to that, and for the likes of Conor Murray, who you mentioned, to come in, to slot right in there and to have a great game.
Yeah, and I think it was kind of, you before the match you could probably find loads of reasons to say, oh, why this might upset Ireland, but I think their past disruptions like this kind of mentally rocking them, and I think that was clear today that Jamieson Gibson-Park, one of their most important players, and he wasn't there. Conor Murray stepped in, absolutely seamless, and he had a really, really good game for most of most of his time on the pitch. I think Johnny Sexton was really good as well, but I think just everything, all their accuracy, their level of intensity was still there. So that's great to see, and I think that's a real, we've talked an awful lot about Andy Farrell this week, that that meeting with Alec Ferguson and all kind of coaches and players that thrive in that mental arena. So obviously that's the challenge he's putting to these guys and saying, and I think they dealt with it really, really well today.
Yeah, that side is really interesting of the game, that mental side, and it's something that Andy Farrell is hugely invested in. Do you think coming here today, obviously those challenges with the last minute changes, but also he wanted the roof on, he wanted it to be loud, he wanted it to be a challenge? Yeah,
and I suppose they passed everything with flying colours, but there are bigger challenges ahead. I think we have to be realistic, and we're probably trying to talk up Wales a little bit pre-match. That's not going to be their toughest challenge in this Six Nations, and I think everybody will reflect on this and go, yeah, they absorbed an awful lot of pressure for 40 minutes, but they still looked very comfortable doing that. So I think all eyes will turn to next week, and every game becomes the biggest game. So going straight on to France now, rude health. Hopefully Gibson-Park's injury isn't long, because we won't get the same, I suppose, flexibility from the opposition next week. So Ireland will need to be, they'll need to be better. But this was a good run out for them, and Andy Farrell will be really happy.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll go back to the first half then. So it was a dream start, really. Caelan Doris and James Ryan getting over for those early tries.
Yeah, and it's just the intensity they played at. We talked about beforehand, I was going to mention to you the fast start that Ireland obviously wanted to silence this crowd, and Wales were looking to try and give them something to cheer about. So I think that fast start really hurt Wales, but equally it was kind of almost a frenzied attack from the Irish attack. It was so accurate. The line out was absolutely purring, the way they were playing, and just they had quick ball. Conor Murray was there moving it away, and it just became too hard to defend. And we're used to seeing that from Ireland. Now with that, they were well taken tries. One a little bit more off the training field, the other one the tap and go, and just that power game was just very, very clearly on display.
James Lowe try, talk to us about it. It was unbelievable, the interception, his pace.
Yeah, it's almost like a cruel blow for France as he did that. It was a lovely passage of play from Wales. They were running out of steam a little bit in that phase, so they either needed to score or kick it. And James Lowe, I think there was probably a 4-on-2 in the wider channel, and he just stays really big in the wide channel, and Bigger just passed it to him. It was, but that defence you could just see the Irish defence was starting to get on top, and James Lowe, very big, very strong in that space. It takes a lot of self-belief to stay strong in that space. Just got the ball and listen, had an easy run in for an easy. He's not going to score too many easier tries than that, and it killed off the kind of the Welsh momentum at that stage as well.
Yeah, so they go in at half-time, it's 24 points clear. You think at that point, game's over. But that wasn't really the case.
Yeah, I was thinking, I think we were saying this at half-time, that you just felt like Ireland needed one more try to be home and hosed. And then Wales came out, scored a try straight off the bat, and you're just there, oh, right, now we have a game on our hand. But I think what was really encouraging from an Irish perspective was they didn't panic. So Wales threw the kitchen sink at them. They threw everything, but the final pass wasn't there. I think Tapiric threw one over the top of Dyer, and you just wonder if that had been more of an accurate pass. But Ireland's scramble was absolutely fantastic, and they deservedly frustrated Wales. So Wales weren't able to convert their pressure into points, and that's as valuable. And then by the time Ireland came back and scored, Josh Van der Fleer got that try. You're going to see the Welsh body language. They were just like they'd run. They were empty at that stage, and that kind of was a fair reflection of the game. Wales had plenty of endeavour, which is not the end product.
Yeah, they were constantly on the cusp at times, but as you said, defensively Ireland were just so solid. Some of those tackles that went in.
Yeah, and the defence is going to be a big part of the game, because while we had kind of two different philosophies today, we had Ireland looking to play an awful lot of game, and Wales looking to play quite a physical one, not one-dimensional, but quite a physical game. We'll be going toe-to-toe with France next week, so having that defence workout will be very, very good, because France, just like us, they like to play with the ball, but they will not be as inaccurate in scoring chances as Wales were today.
And late in the game we saw Johnny Sexton going off. Ross Byrne came on. How did you think he done?
Yeah, he did really well. Not surprisingly, that's not fair. But the attack shape kind of sparked back to life with Ross Byrne coming back in. He looked really comfortable playing in that second sweeper role in behind, and like nearly got the ball on the toe for Mac Hansen in the corner, and it took an unbelievable try-saving tackle to stop Hansen going over. So I thought he was really good. He's really composed, and I think that's what Andy Farrell likes about him. Is that he's just really composed, and other people, they're quite happy to play to his drum, and he's doing it really well. I was delighted for him today.
And leaving here today, what areas do you think that Ireland will be looking at to maybe improve?
I think we'll look at it in the kind of how good were Wales, and they will have to be better in every area to beat France, and I think that's the bit you have to accept, that France are, well, we're the number one ranked team in the world, they're number two, and they're not far behind. Like, there's not much between these two teams. We have them in our own backyard, so they will need to be more accurate. I don't think we would be able to cede possession for 45, 50 minutes like we did after we scored those three tries. France will do an awful lot more if we give them that possession for that length of time.
Yeah, we'll be hoping that a few players are back from injury. Obviously, Tadhg Furlong comes to mind as well. You'd want him in there for the France game. He had a calf issue, but we did see him out on the pitch here just before the game as well. And he's out there. He's doing a bit of a light jog, so maybe he's nearly there.
Yeah, I think so. Like scrummaging today was kind of a mixed bag, but we did give up a few penalties in there. Like, listen, Tadhg Furlong's the best tight end in the world. We would be very, very naive to say we'll be okay without him. We're a different team when he plays, so we would need him if he's back and fit and firing. Absolutely, he adds so much to the Irish game.
And what did you make of the atmosphere here? Obviously, you've been here many times as a player. You told me 4 times, you've won 3 times.
Yeah, so it's a good place to come and play. Like, I suppose when I was playing, there was quite a, Ireland and Wales kind of had a bit of a monopoly on the championship. So it was always coming here and going toe to toe with these lads. But yeah, this stadium is fantastic. The roof closed, the atmosphere it's absolutely full on. And we kind of said it like 2 or 3 times. Like, it's great having crowds back, obviously, because we were almost getting used to not having crowds, but part of the job is to silence the opposition crowd, and they did that fantastically today. So yeah, it's great, and it's nice having a great one of the best seats in the house.
Yeah, we're up here obviously in the press area. I was speaking to Ger Gilroy on Friday just ahead of the game, and he was saying, oh, enjoy yourself, I hope there's no pints flying around. And what happened? A pint comes flying behind and down on top of us here, so comes part and parcel of it all.
Yeah, the joys, the glamour fixture. Yeah, I think we were lucky it was only one.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you think they will fare out against France next weekend?
Yeah, it could be. I think they'll probably have a few changes maybe in selection to freshen up, because there was some tired bodies out there today. I think it's the same every game now for Ireland. There is a level of expectation growing with them, and if Ireland play, they are able to beat any team on week in, week out. So that's the challenge for them, is that they turn up and they show up against France next week, and they will want to win. And they have everything in their armory to beat France, but France are a really, really good team as well. So it becomes the match of the tournament, really.
Can they win the Six Nations?
Absolutely, yeah. Do they go unbeaten between here and the end of October? That might be a little bit too hard. But I think without focusing on Grand Slams and things, I think winning with performances is very, very important. And even if they lose with a performance, you lose to a better team, but you play well. You can take that and you figure out what went wrong, and you can use that to going forward. Remember, we are the number one team in the world, so every team is going to be focused on us, and they will put an extra little bit of preparation in because they're playing the best. So we are getting used to that, but it means we have to continually push and strive for higher standards as well.
Just before I let you go, actually, I was speaking to Paul O'Connell at the captain's run on Friday, and we mentioned the favourites tag, as you said, number one in the world, and he said that years ago they used to run away from the favourites tag. That's how he looks back on it, but he said this team, he feels like they just embrace it. Do you remember running away from the favourites tag, or what that was like?
Yeah, I think it's an unusual mindset to have. And I suppose when you're much more comfortable with it, it becomes easier to wear. And I suppose maybe back then we didn't have the level of consistency where we were going, yeah, absolutely, we will show up and we will play. It was more of a question. It was sometimes a question in it, going, if we show up, we can beat somebody. Whereas now the thing is, there's an expectation that you show up.